When demographers project population growth, they work exclusively with demographic variables. They make certain assumptions about birth rates, about death rates, about fertility levels, about life expectancy, and so forth. They put these into the model and they crank them into the future. At no point, if they're projecting a doubling of population or even a tripling in some cases, at no point do they ask the question, will there be enough water to support this growth in population? Will there be enough food in the country to support this growth in population? And because they don't ask that, they can project population trends into the wild blue yonder. But they're largely irrelevant because they don't deal with the resource base needed to support population growth. So we're beginning to see societies break down because their populations are continuing to grow rapidly and are outgrowing the resource base.
Metropolitan area right now is just a little bit less than 1 million people. It's projected to grow to about 1.4 million in the next 25 or 30 years. At the same time, current conditions, we already have a water deficit. So it's not sustainable. What we're doing at present is not sustainable.
Zero population growth worked. We were on a track to zero population growth. But it's very apparent it was a Pyrrhic victory unless we did something about immigration. Because about the same time we were winning this battle, sort of for the hearts and minds of America, that smaller families were better, here the Congress passed the 1965 Immigration Act, which quadrupled the amount of immigration to the United States. And we also started then under pressure of illegal immigration. So this completely offset this whole idea that we were fighting for of a limited and sustainable America. And we found ourselves growing faster than ever. So zero population growth worked in concept in terms of our own natural birth rate, but it didn't work in the bigger concept of demography because we were growing faster than ever.
We're a district that's 160 years old, and for the first time 2 years ago, the number of minority children collectively as a whole were more than the majority students. That's a demographic shift that we know is going to continue within the school system.
Fordson today is a little bit different than Fordson 20 years ago. Population have changed, demographics have changed. I say we have about over 90% Arabic. When I was teaching here 20 years ago, we had like 18% Arabic.
When I came here 20 years ago, I'm not sure what the statistics were, but it was perceived as a primarily Polish city. You know, in some ways that's always been a misnomer. This has always been an ethnically diverse city. It's always been an immigrant city. It's just, and it continues that tradition now. It's just that the makeup of the immigrants has shifted. This is the direction that Hamtramck is going. This is the direction that the whole nation is going. And I think that, if you look at the America that we're going to become, you see it right here on the streets of Hamtramck.
We want peace! We want peace! We want peace! We want peace!
It has been 6 years since our loss, and I found it's necessary now to let my son go to his destiny. I am here today mourning the loss of my country. I have spent 5 years trying to understand why my son is dead. And the things that I have found has led me to embarrassment and shame for my government that has betrayed the citizens of the United States.
Welcome, great to have you with us. And today we're in Washington, D.C. That's right, the nation's capital. 47 other folks are here too to talk about the issue of illegal immigration.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are part of waking up this political culture which pretends to be so worldly and so international and doesn't know what's going on in its backyard.
And this is an issue people really are concerned about. People think it ought to be basic common sense that immigration should be controlled. Not a controversial issue if you look at the polls. So what is the problem?
Hey, Humphrey, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. There are millions of wonderful, beautiful people from all around the globe, Latinos, Italians, you name it, who are waiting in line for the privilege of living in the United States. What is so obviously as unjust as this, to let someone come over the border illegally, break the law, come right in line, overnight, they're even proposing now to overnight give them amnesty, while people have been waiting 5, 6, 7 years. That's obviously unjust. And anything unjust is also obviously immoral.
The community had become more diverse in the 90s, in the early 2000s. But it did not, the issue of illegal immigration was not such an issue. The issue has never been one of diversity. I think what happened was from about the year 2003 forward, is that we started to see a huge influx, not just of immigrants. We've always had a lot of immigrants into this community, but illegal immigration. And that was really the tipping point. From about that point forward, when the construction boom really got underway and illegal immigrants began not just working here, but living here and having an impact on the schools and everything else, that people got upset.
Founders Day and a fun Italian festival.
When I immigrated from Mexico, I immigrated out of financial necessity, and I am not proud to say this because I don't like people to break the law, but I came across the border illegally. When I came to the country, I was offered the jobs as a dishwasher or landscaping person, and there is nothing wrong with doing that, but I always wanted to make a decent wage and benefits. So when my friends invited me to go and apply as a dishwasher, I said, no, you know what, I want to get into construction and be a union member, because that's the only way I saw back then, and it ended up to be true, that I was going to be able to make good wages and a good living.
I'm proud to be from San Jose. I'm proud to be from this area, Silicon Valley. But I think also people really need to take a deeper look to say, what about those people who are kind of invisible, right? Because people take those services for granted. And so that's why it's really important that those people have an opportunity to say, this is what I need in order for you to keep doing what you're doing. This is what I need to sustain my family. This is what I need in order to live and to be happy here.
Yes, I met my wife here many years ago, and we do have a family, and we live very well, very nice, thanks to my job as well.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Semiconductors are the most complex product made by man. We are getting billions of transistors or circuits on little bits of silicon about the size of your thumbnail. And to do that takes a lot of ingenuity, a lot of innovation. It takes a lot of the best, basically, that science and technology has to offer. And in order for our industry to continue to make these products and advance technology into the future, we need access to the PhDs that are graduating out of universities around the world, but particularly here in the United States. If you look at the university graduates in the PhD programs here, there are about 2/3 of them are foreign-born. So when they're graduating, and we're trying to recruit these students to help us make the products for tomorrow, we have a problem because they need to have visas in order to stay in this country. There is a cap on the visa, number of visas that are offered, and so many of these people are forced to leave the country.
When I started getting very interested in the immigration history, there were myths across the landscape. Let's come up with one. The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty had nothing to do with immigration. But somehow somebody really smart put on a campaign over a series of years, and now you ask anybody, and there's no difference. The Statue of Liberty has to do with the Golden Door. Give me your poor masses. Well, it's not true, and I won't go into it except to say that the Statue of Liberty was given to the American people by the French people, the French nation, and they put a name on it, and the name on the lady is Liberty Enlightening the World. They were giving the American people in admiration a statue which said, this is what America means to the world. That's the way to run a society. Model your society on that society. And she's got a book of laws here, and in one hand and the torch in the other. It's got nothing to do with asylum.
That ribbon of highway I saw above me, that endless skyway I saw below me, that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
If one were to do a poll in the United States and say, would you like to see population growth, more population growth in your community over the next generation or next half century or century, probably the overwhelming majority would say no. Not in my community. I don't want to see a 50% increase in our population. But we do not have a national population policy that reflects that. And so we just keep cruising along, adding roughly 1% or so a year, part from natural increase, part from immigration. But there is no national population policy, nor is there any public discussion to speak of the need for a population policy.